Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eric here, and welcome to another video game review. Today we're going to be doing a review on a game that I've been pretty excited to play for a very long time. This is the game that came out like 5 years ago, but it was only re-released for the PS4 in 2014, so it was still a long while ago. I managed to get it on a sweet deal, and it's honestly been one of my favorite games, so I will be doing a review on Sleeping Dogs Definite Edition. First and foremost, let's talk about the gameplay of Sleeping Dogs Definite Edition. Now, this is basically your traditional open world game, kind of similar to like Grand Theft Auto 4, which is where it took most of its inspiration from, with the only difference being that the game puts more emphasis on hand-to-hand combat, other than the gunfights that you would come to know from every other open world game that they would release. Now, this game takes place in Hong Kong, and the main character, Wei Shen, is a master of martial arts. So, as I said before, this game puts its emphasis on hand-to-hand combat, where the point being where you're faced against a horde of enemies, and the point being you have to counter, punch, and utilize any sort of combos necessary, and also utilizing the environment around you to basically beat them up or kill them. It really depends on the situation. Now, granted, there are still moments where you are doing the traditional gunfights and all that, though this game doesn't really have that as much. It's more of like a secondary thing, with the majority of the game being fought with hand-to-hand combat. Now, in terms of the open world in of itself, the game open world is actually enjoyable and sometimes a little bit more fun to see than some of the other open world games. Granted, it's just like every other one where you just have a bunch of random NPCs just talking and all that. You run around, you do the main story, you also do the side quests and all that. The difference between this game and mostly a good majority of the other open world games is that there is at least a more consistent story with the side quests and all that. Being that one of the side quests being that since Wei Shen is a cop and also a triad, his objectives can vary depending on which mission you do. You can do missions where you're just playing the cop role, or you can do missions where you're being the triad that you are and trying to kill people and all that, doing stuff for your triad, doing stuff for the law and for the justice. But in all honesty, the game's story, side quests and all that have been pretty enjoyable because not only do they feel like you're actually trying to help with the story, they at least feel like you're at least doing something for each of the games, even though, and ironically, the main story isn't affected at all by the amount of side quests you do. But still, it's a nice touch, being able to be in an open world game where some of the side quests actually are more relevant to what you're doing as a character and as the main character and all that. So it's actually nice. And the reward system actually feels pretty useful a good majority of the times. And among other things, but the gameplay and the open world feel nice, even though the open world does at times feel quite empty, despite the majority of the NPCs. But it does look and feel like it's in Hong Kong for a good majority of the time. Moving alongside the gameplay for just a sec. Okay, to talk about the story, you play Wei Shen. You are a cop that goes undercover as a Sun On Yi, which is a Hong Kong triad, with the intent of destroying it from the inside. Now, it's an interesting story because it puts an emphasis on this character who basically has a double morale, where he knows very well that what he's doing is for the good of mankind and for justice and for the law. But at the same time, he's also a character that utilizes that as an excuse to commit very different acts and very different amount of crimes. Like, he basically has a double face. where at one time he's a justifiable person, and at the same time he's just a complete and utter asshole that is willing to do whatever to get what he needs to do and for revenge, which is actually pretty good because he's a character that realizes that what's at stakes, and he also knows very well that what he does is against the law, but it's also used to protect the law. Now, I wish I could say the same about a good majority of the other characters in this game, because I honestly feel like there's a lot of moments where I feel like the characters could have been more developed. Because, like, there has been far too many characters in this game that I feel like haven't really had much time with Way, or hasn't had much time. Okay, to kind of put an emphasis on it, what I don't usually like about open world games is how the game doesn't want to show us the sort of development between the main character and a supporting character. They're willing, like, the main character knows in the game, but he's had a good amount of time with these people. But for us as a player, we don't really see that many moments. We only see like very few moments with those characters, and it honestly feels like
Someone did surgery on
it.
those
For me
guys.
personally, it feels like that they don't show development. They don't really show character development to us, and it honestly feels really lackluster because a lot of these characters are really likable. I honestly enjoyed hearing some of these
You know what's
characters,
sad?
hearing what they
No
had to
one
say,
knows
hearing
certain.
their interactions with Wei, but my god, they just never seem to really have much time to shine. Like, the only character I can probably think of that has had a good amount of time to shine was Jackie, who's Wei Shen's best friend, but even then, he just doesn't feel like he wasn't there for a good majority of the game. And I put in about 20 to maybe 30 hours into Sleeping Dogs in of itself. And I like the stories that they have because, like, for example, the cop cases are probably one of the most interesting because it's the only time you ever see a game actually have you play as a cop. I could be wrong though, but honestly, at least you playing as a person who's investigating these cases, trying to find out like who is the culprit, like trying to get them when they need to be gotten. Like it's nice when you have like some of the like other things where like you're building a car and you're trying to collect all the parts and all that. Like it feels nice. Like you're actually getting a story out of it. And then you also have like the little like the little side quests, like the little favors you do for each people. And sometimes there's a good amount of them that cultivate, like cumulate, and it ends up becoming really, really good because like you can actually have these like interactions with these people. And it honestly feels disappointing when a story just doesn't try to show that off. Because honestly, the ending is probably like one of the most rushed and most abrupt endings I've ever seen in a game, not counting Final Fantasy
Hey,
15.
it's Way.
What did you find out?
But
Vincent.
man,
We got Vincent.
I'm sorry.
I really
I
enjoyed
know
this
he was your
game.
friend.
Like I really enjoyed the story,
What are you
like what it
gonna
had
do
to tell.
next?
But
All the victims.
honestly, a lot of these characters
All
just
had
didn't
organs.
really
Cut
connect
right
with
out.
me.
You're right. This
Like
isn't
the only
just about
character
murder.
that connected with
Once you
me
get
is
the
Shen.
the removal looks
Like you
professional.
have all these little things that
Surgeon's
you can
someone.
do with these
We'll
characters,
look
and
into
like
the
you have all
hospital.
these little
If somebody's
interactions.
stealing organs,
But
we
then
gotta
that's
get
it.
to the
Like you
next
don't
step.
see
All right.
beyond that.
Keep me informed.
And like the two most likable characters, which was Winston and Jackie, are always the ones that just don't feel like at the same time just don't appear as much. And honestly, it kind of annoys me when open world games just don't have that kind of consistency. Like at least try to develop these characters more. Like and develop them in a way that shows that I can actually care about them and care about what happens to them. But well, I can't really say much out of that. Moving on. Sleeping Dogs is definitely an interesting open world game in my opinion. Like how it compares to other open world games is kind of debatable. Like the game does things a little bit better than other open world games, like even better than sometimes like games like Grand Theft Auto 5. And then there are other moments where it just falls into the same category. There's other moments where it also just is a little bit subpar to other open world games. Like it's not really something you can really expect. But the game in of itself tries to do its best to just bring out this different open world that most other games don't really show. Cause like I haven't really seen that many games that take place in like say like a country like say Hong Kong and all that. And it does it so vividly, despite the fact that it feels empty at times. But the game does have all those moments where you have stuff to do, and the consistency of the story can vary depending on how much time you put into the game. But at least for me, I feel like what Sleeping Dogs did great in comparison to other games is its side quests. I feel like the side quests were definitely stronger than a lot of other games. And I definitely wish there could have been at least a little bit more games that had done that. Its story could have finished a little bit better, because like it was about to wrap itself up pretty well. Then it just came in as like this random thing, and then this other random thing, and then it just like, I'm gonna go kill the final boss, and it's like, it feels too abrupt, it feels too rushed. Like I feel like they could have extended the game's story for like a couple more hours to like fully wrap it up, so that it feels like it's an actual good story. Which it was, but it just like there were a lot of moments that could have been fleshed out a little bit more. If I had to give this game a rating, I would probably give it an 8.7 out of 10. Like the game was a lot of fun. It was definitely something that I've been wanting to play for such a long time. And I feel like it definitely lived up to a good majority of my expectations. And then you have the other moments where it just didn't live up to it. Well, on that note, I'm going to end off the video. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it when you guys watch my reviews. Let me know down below what other games I should review. I'll probably try to do other games as well, because I also plan on doing a review of Final Fantasy 15. But that's after I replay the game, which I don't know when, but we'll see. Well, I'm gonna end it off. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Talk to you all later.
Hustle always ever